I'm Greg Ambrosius along with Tom Kessenich and our good friend Matthew Davis from FTNFantasy.com. Matty, let's start with you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me. This is my first live draft of the season. I've been doing DCs, the
Yep.
400s, and then some gladiators. So I'm excited.
Beautiful. Yeah, this is actually our first baseball live stream of the season. So this is going to be a Cutline Championship, NFBC Cutline Championship, 10 teams, 42 rounds, best ball scoring, $75,000 grand prize. Entry fee is $175. We pay the top two in each league, $350 for first place. It's kind of a survivor format, if you will. The top five teams in each league advance to the playoffs. The top two in each league advance to the championship round, and then you guys survive some 3 week periods there. So, Tom, you've been watching a lot of drafts. Baseball has been taking off that damn gladiator. I mean, we sold that thing out before Christmas, 1,500 teams, new innovation, crazy stuff so far, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and we've had drafts going on since October, so our guys have been hard at it for a few months now, and the cut lines are a lot of fun. We'll see how the draft unfolds tonight, but excuse me, best ball format, points format, so a little bit different. We'll see how the roster builds go tonight. So I'm looking at the ADP list right now for our cut line drafts so far this month. The number one player off the board, Maddie, I'm sorry, with the eighth spot, but you won't be getting Shohei Ohtani. He's typically the number one guy going off the board in the cut line drafts so far this month with the points scoring format. But sometimes it's Aaron Judge, Trey Turner occasionally, but usually it's Shohei Ohtani because with the best ball format, our scoring, our programming will allow you to slot him in wherever your team needs him the most, either at utility or at pitcher for that particular week. So that's how our programming allows you to use Ohtani each week.
Yeah, Otani is special, no doubt about that. I mean, he could throw a shutout. He could hit 3 bombs in a week. He's something else. But we're going to get started here. Maddie, what'd you think of those gladiators? Let's just talk about that. You guys started it. I mean, Anthony Gialdi, yourself, you were talking about it. It was just draft 23 players, those starters. That's it. No moves. At the end of the year, we see who has the best team. What'd you think of that format?
Yeah, it was. I can't take credit for being a part of the creation of it. It was Gialdi, Jason Dupont, Zach Waxman, and maybe somebody else. But I was able
Okay.
to participate in those drafts. But they felt it sold out so fast. You guys underestimated it, and obviously
Yes,
I
we
did
did.
as well because I wasn't able to do as many as I would have liked.
Yeah.
But it sort of gives you that, best ball on DraftKings app or Underdog.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like that where you fill out the entire roster. There's no bench spots. There's not going to be any free agency. And it's just that's your team for the entire year, and who you have is who you get. And so if somebody
Yeah.
gets hurt, you're down a guy. So
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see how much more safe fantasy managers wanted to take it, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll expand that next year. I'm sure we'll double the size. We had no idea it would sell out like that, but it was fantastic. All right, we're off to the races right here. Shohei Ohtani, like Tom said, goes
Yeah.
number one. Aaron Judge goes number two, and Ronald Acuna is three. Matty is team eight. We don't have the team names on here to protect the identities of our guys, but Matty is team eight, so we'll talk about that. Matty at FTNFantasy.com, let people know you do have cutline rankings there, right? Specifically
Yeah.
for this contest.
Yeah, it was put together by Vlad and our IT team at FTN Fantasy, and basically it extrapolated the VDP projections that Vlad Sedler had created, and the IT team was able to take each category that creates points from the formula that you guys have for the point scoring system for the cut line, and it spits out that projection based on points. And it's certainly going to be different than what you'll see compared to the ADP because of how heavily it does weight towards hitting. And so, like for instance, Garrett Cole and Corbin Burns are usually the first two pitchers to go off the board. They go at the end of a first round of a draft or the early second. In this, I'll just give away those two. Cole is ranked at 23 overall, as the projection says, and then 33 for Corbin Burns. So it is substantially a little bit different there. But I think it's a fun thing to play around with and look at because It's not just your roto categories or stats that you're necessarily concerned with. It's the points and how you're going to optimize that. So
Yeah, and
it's definitely a unique tool.
I'll give the points for the cut line in a little bit here, but yeah, if you look at the ADPs, Tom, the first pitchers outside of Otani, they're like 22 and 23, right? Burns and Cole go in the third round, so I don't think we're going to see a lot of stickers in the first two rounds.
Probably not. No, I mean, we'll certainly see if these drafts are different than our normal drafts outside of the points. But yeah, like you said, we are seeing starting pitchers going later, certainly in our 12 team drafts. And I mean, we do see starting pitchers go earlier when we get to our big, the main events, 15 teamers. But right now in the 12 team roto wires, they are going later and later, and they are going later in the cut lines as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking at the ADPs here. Burns is ADP of 23, Garrett Cole of
Yep.
25. So Alcantara at 28. So we won't see a lot of yellow stickers, but it'll be interesting here. So Maddie, you got the eighth pick and you took Vlad Guerrero. So we went after Acuna, Trey Turner at 4, Jordan Alvarez at 5, Julio Rodriguez at 6, Jose Ramirez at 7, and then you took Vlad. You love Vlad, don't you? You love the power
I
there.
do. I do, and I think with just the way I evaluate players in general in a roto league like the main event, I don't my evaluations come out a little bit heavier with not necessarily overweighting stolen bases, and then especially with what's going on, etc. But in this format where we're not even worried about how we're getting the points, we just want to get the points.
Hmm.
Vlad Guerrero could lead the league in all sorts of things. Home runs, all the counting stats combined, hits, and the volume. So for me, he is definitely one of my top three players overall when it comes to this format. And the other two would be Shohei and Aaron Judge.
Okay.
Acuna is obviously right there as well, but I think I like Vlad more than Acuna in this format.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is a math contest. All you want is the most points. You don't care how you get them. You don't
Right.
need to have stolen bases, although they add up as well. But I mean, this is all about points, points, points. Whoever has the most points wins this contest and wins $75,000 if you can survive those survivor weeks. So there you go. Okay, we got the first round done already. That's another thing with these 10-team formats. You got 10 good owners that know what they're doing. We can cruise through this pretty darn good. 42 rounds. Tom, what are these been going about 2 hours or so?
Yeah, probably about 2.5 hours on average for the cut lines. Yeah. I do want to ask you, Maddie, when you talk about how this is a points format scoring, are you surprised that Vlad's ADP is lower? Right now it's right around 10, right at the end of the first round in drafts this month.
I am. It surprises me in both formats, actually, and I'm not sure why. So he's going, even at first base, Freddie Freeman on average over the last 3 weeks in the cut lines. This is with 8 drafts for a sample size. Freddie Freeman is the first baseman that is selected over Vlad Guerrero. And then on average, Vlad's going 11th. So we've seen a max pick of him at 14. And I don't know why, to be honest. We have a little bit of data now on the park adjustments that they're going to be doing. It certainly doesn't hurt him by
Hmm.
any means, and I just think we're going to see another huge year. And are we already just bored by him or something? I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think we could see a very, very MVP season.
Yeah, we're talking about a young kid here too. Maybe we
Yeah.
have gotten, taken taken for granted, if you will. You took Mookie Betts then in the second. You love Mookie Betts, obviously, but here's a guy just consistent all across the board, 300 hitter, 20 plus homers, can still get the steals, RBIs, runs, right? He can get 110 plus runs. You like that one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just another great all-around player that can do it all, and then also just amasses a huge amount of volume. If I wasn't going to be able to get Vlad in the first round, and if it was another position, so to speak, I would have probably went with Pete Alonso in the second round there. I like him and his upside as well, but
Mhm.
Mookie was, I wouldn't say a no-brainer because there's still a lot of great players still available, but I can't be disappointed with Mookie Betts in the second round.
Yeah. All right. Let me just give you the points for the hitting here. So it's -1 for every at bat, 4 points for every hit, 2 points for every runs, 6 points for a home run, 2 points for a runs batted in, and 5 points for a stolen base. So actually, a home run is worth 13 points. 6 for the home run. You get a run, you get a hit, you get a run batted in, and -1 for an at bat. So that's the hitting points right there, and that's why you can see our guys are going after the power hitters. Again, a home run is worth 13 points. So very good. If you got a low batting average, though, you're getting a -1 every time. And that's what happened. One guy said on the boards, why are we going -1? Why do we take a point? Well, it's kind of like, why is he a 300 hitter? Because 7 times he's getting out all the time, right? So
That's
that's
right.
the same thing. But power hitters should perform better in this format, don't you think, Maddie?
Yeah, I do, and you can certainly see that this room is a room filled with Cutline veterans because I don't even know if we're going to see. Maybe we'll see a pitcher go soon, but no yellow stickers on the board yet.
We warned everybody there was
Yeah.
going to be no yellow stickers here. So, but yeah, so here we go, getting through the second round. Very interested to see what Team One does here. Again, he's got a lot of flexibility with Otani
Yeah.
here. But are you surprised at all about Realmuto in the second round? I mean, he is the key at catcher position. He's an outlier.
Yeah, he is an outlier, and he's actually really phenomenal in this format as well. And KJ Duke is an awesome player, so I definitely can't knock the idea there. And I'm slowly warming up more and more to the early draft capital on catcher. It's not for me to necessarily do it in the second or third round just yet, but
Hmm.
I'm starting to understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, there we got another catcher going to Varsho.
Yeah.
So Team One goes Otani, Cole, and Varsho. Tom, like you said, we're going to be looking at roster builds. That's the beauty of the cut line here to see how people do build their rosters. Anything you see here, or any way you would build this roster?
No, I think the one thing that jumps out at me right now is the guy that it hasn't gone yet, and that's Bo Bichette is still sitting on the board, and we're 23 picks into the draft right. I mean, I don't want to be giving guys away, but
Yeah.
that's a guy who's just been falling in a lot of drafts in the early going right now. I mean, I don't know if he's somebody on your board right now, Matt, and there he goes right there.
Oh, sure.
Uh,
Way to give it away.
I wanted to
well, I don't
almost
know who's
even take him
listening,
over
but
Mookie just to pair the guys, you know?
I mean, I guess we can talk about him now, Maddie. I mean, how surprised are you that he's been falling in a lot of early drafts?
Yeah, there's been a couple podcasts that might have been having a little bit of naysay on where he's going in the first round and might not be able to pay off that draft capital. But I've already drafted him in a 400 DC in the first round, and I'm plenty good with that. I still think he's still really young and another player that we might be taking for granted. And there's certainly still upside. And I think sometimes with players, when we do get a little stale with them or take them for granted, we forget that there's still potentially another level in their ceiling.
Hmm.
And I still think that that's there with Bo Bichette. And again, these new park dimensions
Yep.
are going to help, and you'll see it.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, these park dimensions, especially Toronto, they brought them in, right? Pretty good in the alleys there. I think people, when you got Guerrero and Bichette, who are so young, there's plenty of upside yet here. So I'm kind of surprised on this too. I like Bo Bichette. Man, I'd take him in the second round of a 15-teamer and not look back. End of the first round, no problem about that. So interest. One other thing is we've got a lot of rules changes this year, and we're going to talk about the bigger bases, the fact that the pitchers can only throw over to first base twice. Does a guy like Bichette get more stolen bases even this year because of this? I mean, the stolen bases is going to be a really interesting stat this year, I think, with the rules changes. Do you think that, Maddie?
Yeah, it should certainly. And the thing, with the pickoff, like be not able to just continuously go over there, the smart players
Right.
with a higher IQ and the talent, it's going to pay off. And I know that he's had some SBA, his percentages and stuff like that have been an issue in the past, but he's still young and he's still quick. And if he's able to figure out or be able to finagle this new system, then yeah, those numbers could jump up substantially, actually.
Yeah, and don't forget we also have the shift is outlawed this year. The guy cannot start out on that side of the second base or whatever. It's obviously going to affect a lot of left-handed hitters. You've got one here, Maddie, with Schwarber. You talk about your pick there.
Yeah, ballpark, lineup context, and just absolute power.
Right.
So he's going to be able to rack up points in bunches, and when he does, you are going to be in a good spot.
All right, there we've got another catcher in round 3, Will Smith. We're through 3 rounds right now. Tom, anybody on our board that has fallen even more, like you said with Bichette? Go ahead, jinx somebody, get them out there, let somebody draft them.
No, I just think I want to get back and answer your question. You actually did ask me about roster builds. First of all, only 2 starting pitchers so far in the first
Mhm.
3 rounds. That's interesting, Cole and Burns. But I think Team 7 with 2 third basemen to start off in the first 3 rounds, that's very interesting. Of course, at this point, you just take the best players off the board if they happen to play the same position. So what? Jose Ramirez, Bobby Witt Jr., that's a great start. They both play third base. So what? They're good. They're both really good players to start your roster off with. So, but I do think it's interesting that they both play third base. So that catches my eye early, but mainly only 2 starting pitchers in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, and again, that's what we said would happen. Alcantara's got an ADP of 28. He might be the next one that goes off the board here, but you're just building, like you said, yes, you can take 2 third basemen. Yes, you can take 2 shortstops to start off. There's plenty of positions. You got the middle infield, you got the corner infield, you got the UT spot. You're just trying to get as many points as possible. And I mean, Jose Ramirez at 7 is a hell of a bargain in this format as well.
Yeah.
So you can't argue with that at all. And Bobby Witt again has some upside as well. So, all right, Maddie's going to make his 4th pick here.
Yeah, I'm scrambling because I was trying to do some math. But you know what? I'm gonna go with another outfielder in Luis Robert or Robert, however you'd
I,
like
I, bel
to
I believe it
pronounce
is
that.
Robert. We're going to ask you to talk about that. And you got 3 outfielders. Tom's talking
Yeah.
about multiple positions. But if you need help with math and it's crunch time here, just ask Tom. He's good at
Yeah,
math. He can help you
So
here.
yeah, so Tom, I
sure.
was actually I'm this is the first time in a long time that I'm somewhat intrigued with Jacob deGrom, and in this format, obviously with the roster depth and not being concerned with hoarding somebody as much. um, I'm interested in him, and obviously, if he stays healthy for even 100 and let's say 30 or 40 innings,
Mhm.
and we can even say that's on the optimistic side, he's going to just absolutely smash for a while. So I contemplated it there, but I stuck to my guns of trusting what we'll call the math and going with a player that I think um, I'm going to try and buy back quite a bit this year in Luis Robert or the Robert. I think that there's still plenty in the tank for him. And I think the White Sox team and landscape last year, it just all happened,
Yeah.
together as a domino effect, so to speak. And yeah, I like him quite a bit.
It,
And it's
it
not
could be
because of the
called the
stolen
Tony
bases as
La
well,
Russa effect, I think,
or
too.
that. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, Tom, we're talking roster builds. You're on team 7 again. He's got 2 catchers. And in fact, we've got 5 catchers off the board already, which is
Yeah.
kind of wild this early. But what do you think about the 2 third basemen, 2 catchers then?
Well, he's clearly just taking the best players on the board. I mean, you can't argue with the talent. It's an interesting roster build to start, but I'm not sure I would go with this approach. I mean, I wasn't arguing with the first 2 third basemen, but to take back-to-back catchers is interesting. But if you're just looking at talent and you're looking at, like you say, it's a math equation, you're looking at points, you're going to get points out of these 4 guys. But do you really want to be loading up with 2 catchers this early? I don't know. It's a good question, but again, it's all about getting points, and he's going to get points out of these 4 guys.
Yeah, definitely 2 catcher spots. He feels good about that. All right, we're starting to see some yellow stickers here. We have not seen DeGrom. We have not seen Justin Verlander yet. So it'll be very interesting here in round 5 to see those 2 guys both on the same team this year. So Woodruff is an interesting one. I talked about this the other night. Him and Burns were going right next to each other last year, right? Woodruff was going ahead of him 2 years ago. Woody got hurt early on, but boy, at the second half, he was very solid. I mean, he's going much further than Burns is. Not so much here in this cut line here, but in most of our drafts, a good full round, if not more, after Burns. I think Woody's got a chance to surprise a lot of people this year. Matt, any ideas there?
Yeah, well, no, I was all in, so to speak, on Woody last year. I love him, huge fan. But are we ready to just completely throw out the injury he had, and then the
Mhm.
feeling of the fingers and that sort of thing? I don't know how often that sort of thing crops up, or again, but I don't know. It's just sort of in the back of my head, and I know that
Yeah.
pitchers, regardless, have. I think that there's 20 to 30% chance of them getting injured, like just right out of the gate because they're a pitcher. And
Yeah.
with something like that, it does concern me a little bit going into this season. But
Yeah.
big fan of Woody.
Yep. I hear you there. I hear you there. DeGrom goes pick 44 here. Again, lots of upside there. And in this best ball format and with a 42-man roster, you can certainly use them from time to time and still be in very, very good shape. So this is a format that I think DeGrom makes an awful lot of sense. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, you got deep pitching and it's best ball. So if you're getting his best 20 outings, that's as good as anybody in the game. And there's Verlander there. So again, DeGrom and Verlander have ADPs in the fourth round there, but they went 44 and 45 here. So interesting. Again, Tom, we're looking at roster builds, team 5 here. Burns,
Yep.
Alcantara, and Verlander. It's hard to argue with that, right?
No, especially after starting off with Alvarez and Tatis Jr. I mean, you get two big hitters. Now he's loading up with three strong starting pitchers. So I like this build a lot. I mean, you start off with the two big hitters, and now you hit those starting pitchers. So I'm assuming he's going to come back with offense after this because you're in great shape with pitching now. I don't think he has to go for much more pitching after this.
Yeah, for sure. Tatis Jr. is interesting because he should be back around April 20th because the Padres went into the second round. That took some of the suspension off of this year. So, Maddie, I mean, he's been going about 17, 18 in our drafts. I'll let you make this pick, but I am interested in your thoughts on Tatis. Again, he should play. Well, who knows? I mean, the guy could fall off a motorcycle tomorrow for all we know. But Tatis Jr., if he's back around April 20th, has some upside for sure.
Yeah, and the team context is getting better. The Padres continue to buy in on
Yeah.
winning it all each year. So if he comes back and he's healthy, right? So that's the big factor there is returning and being healthy and then staying healthy, and then cutting out all the BS, all the bullshit that he does in between things. So if he's able to do that, I think the player itself is pretty elite. You know, fan or not aside, I think that he could win some leagues this year.
Yeah.
If everything clicks, right? And he just comes with that volatility that a lot of fantasy baseball players or managers don't like to take on.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of on that boring side that does that
Yeah,
most of
no,
the
and
time.
that's why he's not going in the first round. It's a little bit too much. But
Yeah.
boy, when he gets around 17, 18, 19 in our DCs, he's flying off the boards there. So, and again, in this format, because it's best ball, you can certainly replace him early on. But I hope we see the best of him this year. We certainly didn't see anything of him last year, and I'm not sure he took the game serious. I hope he comes back with a new attitude right here. All right, Spencer Strider. I gotta love that pick there. That's 200 plus strikeouts possibly. I think that's a great ace to have right there after you built 4 good hitters there. So kudos on that one. I do like Spencer Strider.
Yeah, I think he fell just a little bit there. Some
Mhm.
of the starting pitchers that went ahead of him kind of surprised me. Maybe people are worried about when he stops, when his leash kind of runs out. But for me, it's all about maximizing points and output.
Yep.
And I am certainly confident that he's going to be able to do that. So,
Yep. Yep. So, all right, Tom, we just have a couple of teams here who had not taken a starting pitcher yet. 3 teams have not taken a starting pitcher, and we have not seen any closers go off the board. Again, we do not have a saves category. Let me just get the pitching points here. Saves are worth 8 points. Wins are worth 6 points. A strikeout is worth 1. Earned run is -2. A walk issued is -1. A hit allowed is -1, and for every innings pitched, it's 3 points. So a point for every third of an inning. Tom, when do you think we'll see some closers going off the boards?
Yeah, I'm looking at ADP right now. This is kind of the range. We do see it a few go off the board in this range, so it's certainly possible. I like that pick, by the way, Maddie. You can talk about it when I'm done. This is kind of the range when a few do come off the board, so it's possible in this round or maybe in the seventh we see a couple go off the board here if people are inclined. So this is kind of the area, but I'll let Maddie talk about the Swanson pick. I do like that one quite a bit.
yeah, he's awesome. He does it all, and he's got a really good, clean bill of health. I think that the team context is a downgrade this year, but in general, the Cubs are trying to get better on offense. And then he's another just mass volume accumulator, playing every pretty much every day is what we can expect for baseball players now. So 150 to 155 games, and um, man, he just keeps getting better, and the barrel rate's going up, and the power's pretty sustainable. So I really like Dansby.
Where's he going to hit in that lineup? I mean, he's going to be higher up in the lineup, won't he?
Second or third, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So going to a worse team, but moving on up in the lineup doesn't hurt at all for sure. All right.
Right.
Team 6 and 7 still did not take a starting pitcher or a relief pitcher, which is fine. There's nothing wrong. We're no panic time here in a 10-team league. That's for sure. There's plenty of starting pitchers there, but just an interesting roster build as they're just loading up on hitting. And who's to argue, right?
Yeah. That one of them, Siege. Shout out to him, our buddy Siege. I know that he heavily weights hitting in this format as well. So he's sticking to his guns and going with what he trusts. So I respect that. And I don't mind his build so far. It's pretty good.
All right, if that's a Siege and he's listening, get your ass to Las Vegas this year. I don't know when the last time you've been out there with us. Maybe 2019 or so,
Yeah.
but get your ass out to Las Vegas, Siege. All right, that's your kind of town. You
There
know
we
it's
go.
your kind of town. Actually, it's
Yeah,
all of our town, isn't it?
that's right. Yeah, looking forward to. I get in on the 22nd. I'm sure you guys are going to be there a
We
week
will.
before that or something
Not a
crazy.
week. We're going to be in New York City the weekend
Oh,
before
that's
that.
right.
But yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
get
right.
out there on
Okay.
Monday. Tom gets out there on Wednesday, I think. So
Okay.
it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to be at the Mirage. They are excited to have us. We've got over 300 room nights right now. We've got over 100 people staying at the Mirage, which is really cool. I think if you know the Mirage, the sports book is really huge and it's great, but there's restaurants all around it. And then there's bars, pop-up bars, if you will, right around the sports book there. I think wherever you walk at the Mirage, you're going to bump into somebody from the NFBC. And we know
Yes.
what that was like at Park MGM in 2019. It was a cool thing where everybody was seeing everybody at Italy and such like that. I think that's what it's going to be like at the Mirage. I'm really excited to be at the Mirage.
Yeah, it's a little more laid back and social atmosphere. You
Yeah,
can like you said, you'll bump into somebody at NFBC, but you'll also be able to bump into a bartender, right?
yeah,
So it's a fun hotel, and it's lively, and they've done a lot of good renovations
yeah.
over the last few years too. So I'm excited to a change of scenery is a good thing.
Yeah, I
I'm
think so
excited.
too. I think so too. It's gonna be good. The pool, I was down by the pool. It's very good. It's not Bellagio pools, but it's very, very good. So we're gonna enjoy it. And I will say, Mike the Mouth is working on the Friday night party, the Midnight Madness party, and we've actually rented out a restaurant. It's called Portofino. So we're gonna have a lot of room. It's right on the uh, by the sports book there, and it's on the casino floor there, so you don't have to take elevators or anything. So look for news on that. But I think we're gonna have a
Fantastic.
really nice Friday night party here. All right. Another catcher goes off the board at Team 2. Team 2 again goes against the grain. Does not want a starting pitcher there. But otherwise,
Our
looking pretty
closer.
interesting. Team 1's got 4 pitchers already.
Got our first closer though.
Mm,
Class A. Yeah, he's been going. So ADP's in the NFBC. He's been going in the second round pretty much. Hater at the end of the second round sometimes too. So interesting there. But yeah, Team One's got a very interesting bill. He may use Otani a few times at starting pitcher as well. So a real interesting build there.
Yep.
Is Hater the next one off the board with the closers, Tom?
it's Diaz, Class
Yeah.
A, then Hater. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So Diaz has been going ahead of Class A. Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, Maddie, what are you thinking of a build here now? I mean, are you just still going with the math equation here, or are you looking at some positions?
Yeah, I'm looking at roster construction here, and with Siege picking before me and already having two catchers, I don't have to worry about him taking one of them, but I would really like to get one of MJ Melendez or Alejandro Kirk.
Okay.
Yeah, because after those two, I think that's about where that tier dries up. On average, in a 15-team league like a DC, they're going in round 7 or 8. So this is a little rich when you look at that draft capital in that regard. But if you look at tiers and roster construction, and scarcity and stuff like that, those two catchers pop a little bit more than the rest of the field that's available.
Yeah, Melendez is very interesting. I like him.
Yeah, they're both real nice. I actually have both of them in a couple of leagues already. So I've warmed up just a little bit to the whole catcher thing.
Yeah, I mean, it is surprising to see this many catchers go this early, and in the DCs, that tier is going early too, because after that, it gets slow. I mean, I was in a draft champions with the Arizona Fall League speakers, and I laid off on catchers, and oh my goodness,
Oh,
there was nothing there. I wish I would have grabbed one much earlier so I can understand the love for the catchers right now. Oh, a
did
snipe right
he
in front of
really?
you.
He must be watching the show. He's like, fuck you. I'm gonna take another catcher anyways. So okay. Yeah, I guess I will go with Alejandro Kirk.
All right, now you have to come to Las Vegas, Siege, because you're going to get beat up by Maddie. You do know he's been walking 12, 13 miles a day delivering the mail.
In the snow.
And I know the Siege isn't
Still.
walking 12, 13 miles a day in the snow either.
I'm like a real life Rocky right now, guys.
I don't know how you do 12, 13 miles in the snow in Chicago. I mean, I'll walk my dog maybe 2 miles and I'm dead after that. So kudos to you.
Well, I am in the North Shore suburbs, and I will let it be known that the neighborhood that I'm in and walking around in is pretty salted and paved and clean for
Yeah,
me.
it's a pretty nice
It's
neighborhood, I'm
pretty,
sure.
yeah, it's pretty well done.
Hey, there we go. We got our second closer off
Yeah.
the board, Diaz, the team 10. And man, with pick 70, that seems like a pretty good value right there for Diaz. So, Matt, let's talk about you can make your pick when you're ready, but let's talk about the closers because you don't need a closer in this format. But these
No,
are guys that can get you 25 consistent points every week as well, right?
yes. So when they do come in, they're not going to have as much volatility as the elite ones, so to speak, like Diaz and Clase. They're not going to have the volatility like a starting pitcher. So regardless of the starting pitcher, they're usually going to have we always say like you have X amount of good outings, you have X amount of bad outings, and you have your good outings and your great outings. And the great pitchers say it's how you manage your bad outings, right? How do you get out of those? And so starting pitchers are going to have those. And somebody like Diaz and Clase are going to be more consistent, whereas their amount of volume isn't going to be as high. It the what they do in regards to their strikeout rate,
Mhm.
so they amass the amount of strikeouts in a quicker amount of volume as well. So not pitching as many innings, but not hurting you as much. They're pretty
Right,
consistent in your optimal scoring lineup per week.
right, right, definitely. All right, we're gonna let you make your pick here. Got
Yeah,
Captain Kirk right before that.
I'm gonna take my favorite pitcher on the board and go with another one here, I believe. Actually, y- yeah, I'm gonna take my favorite pitcher on the board.
Loading up on
Let's
Toronto
go.
guys. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I
So
like
let me
Dawson
ask you
more than
one
Manoa,
question
so.
about pitchers. Out of 42 roster spots, what's your breakdown that you want to be for pitchers versus hitters?
Okay, so you have, I think it's 14, and what's the difference in regards to, okay, so you have your 9, and then you're say 16, 15. I have it in my article. I don't remember the exact split on it. I would have to pull up the roster grid. Hold on. Give me a second. I'll answer that for you.
All right.
I don't want to give you a bullshit answer.
Well, because it is interesting. Like even with the draft champions, when my 50, I was like, do I want 21, 22 pitchers? What is my number? And so I did come up with my own number, and I wasn't sure if it was right or not. I think I ended up with 21 pitchers and then 29 hitters. So interesting with the cut line with a 42 man roster here.
So it's 12 to 14 on top of your starters. So 21 to 23 is what I would say.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so and that's obviously a range too. I mean, if
Right.
there's a hitter that you're really wanting at the last end of the draft, or if there's a pitcher that's just sitting there,
Right.
take them. I mean, you have the 2 free agency periods too, so you're going to be able to shed some weight and then
Right.
add the rookies that got called up that nobody drafted and stuff like that. Because that's another thing is you're not going to see a lot of the young high ceiling prospects get drafted in this format. There will be a
Right.
couple of the elite supreme ones that are potentially going to crack opening day, but you won't see like you'll see in a 30 round main event to take a shot on, so to speak, or hoard a pick.
Right.
So you're going to get some opportunities there, and then in free agency on in general, spend a lot early. I will leave that little tip of advice: spend a lot early because the league sizzles out Some teams, just they look at it like, oh, I'm out of it. I'm just kind
Yeah.
of done. And there's a lot of money that you can spread around for cheap in the second period.
Yeah, so this is a hybrid best ball, which means we have two FAAB periods. We have one on April 11th, Tuesday, April 11th, and then one on Tuesday, June 6th. So that's the only free agent spots. You got $1,000. And like Maddie said, if you see some guys that got called up or a prospect that might get called up after, let's say in May, maybe, that's where you want to spend the money on because that guy is going to be on your roster for a long time. In June, there's a lot of players available, but some people give up on the FAAB maybe, and so you can pick up guys for cheaper at that point. But yeah, I would spend. But there's only two FAAB periods, so basically you draft, and then you have two FAAB periods, and the rest the computer does everything for you. So that's why this is such a fun format, and you can turn $175 into 750 or $75,000. So good format there. So Tom, we still have three teams that have not
Yep.
taken a picture. I'm not criticizing at all. It's just interesting that 3 out of the 10 teams are on the same format here.
Putting that 10-team format to the test, that's for sure. To see if they can build that starting. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to get starting pitchers. I mean, and at some point, the well is going to run dry. And here we are, Team 2 still 9 rounds in without a starting pitcher. We'll
Oh,
see what the other two teams decide to do in this round. But I mean, at some point, you're going to have to get some starting pitching points. So you can't keep playing chicken forever. It's going to be interesting to see how long these guys want to go. I'm not sure I would want to be going 9 rounds deep without a starting pitcher, at least one, top line ace. I'd want to have at least one by this point. But I mean, these are good players. They know what they're doing. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, KJ rolling the dice with Byron Buxton. Derek would love that.
yeah.
Buxton should be interesting. Again, in a best ball format where you got a deeper roster and you get optimal scoring, nothing wrong with Buxton because he'll get you some solid weeks as we saw last year, and then all of a sudden sayonara for a long time. But
Yeah.
uh, he's a guy I like, though. I mean, the best ball format. What the hell, right? The guy could. The way he's, I wish he would run more though. He's been more power than running lately. So
He does.
it,
He runs right into the outfield wall. That's
that's
the
been his
problem.
problem. That's been his problem for sure. All right, Tom, lay some odds on 6 and 7 here. Siege is a good gambler here. What are the odds that they take a pitcher?
70% that one of them does, but
All
not
right.
both. But not both.
I'll guess Siege doesn't.
I think they
Alright, so
both will
teams
pass
picks.
on a pitcher. How's that? I'll go against the grain. I
Okay.
think they're both going to just say, F you, Tom. I'm going all hitters here.
That's fair. Oh, there we
I ha-
go.
We got
I
one for
have.
one.
Wow.
Both of these guys have two catchers right away, too. So interest.
Yeah.
And team 2 has 2
3.
catchers as well.
Wow, you're right. They
Yeah, and
both
you're
did.
right, 3-ish. There you go. The house lost on that 70%.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure where you guys lie on this player that I'm about to select, but pretty happy with this pick. I know that he doesn't hit a lot of power, but I think that he's going to bounce back in a pretty big way.
Yes, we had him in AL labor last year. He was terrible for us, but
Yep.
I hope he does bounce back. But I wish he would have bounced last year instead. But
Yep.
yeah. So how you feeling about your roster build through 9?
Good. I'm sort of building middle in or middle out with middle
Mhm.
infielders and outfielders besides my first round pick, and then I'm sprinkling in and the catcher as well. So catcher, middle infield, and outfield, building up the middle, and then sprinkling in my pitchers when I feel like they're not being the draft capital isn't being overspent on them. I might actually go with another one here if I have 2 guys that I would really like to get. If one of them's there, I'll go with them. If not, then I will look for another hitter.
Maddie, you're a Dodgers fan. Julio Urias is falling in all of our
Yep.
formats,
Mhm.
and the Steamer projections has his ERA over 4. Talked about this with Sean Johnson the other night. What are you seeing on Urias that people are predicting and doom and gloom this year?
So they're looking at luck-based results and where the metrics could have been or should have been, but they're not taking into account. So they'll look at BABIP, right, or home run to
Hmm.
fly ball rate.
Hmm.
And when they're doing that, though, they're not looking into the stuff metrics and they're not looking to see how he's mixing in his pitches and the differentials and why aren't they hitting this ball? And then
Mhm.
they'll say, well, the shifts are going to be different. So the BABIPs, the Dodgers, they're really good in BABIP. They're always the best, and it's because they're analytically driven and they know how to prevent this and that. But it's also sometimes driven by the pitches that are being thrown by the pitcher,
Mhm.
and specifically his curve slash slider that he throws. It's this like hybrid pitch. Um, Hitters can't hit it, so they're not going to have a high BABIP on it. It's
Yeah.
just not a. It's not a pitch that is going to be hit around often, and he commands these pitches, and he can locate them. Um, Really good. And the crazy part about him is we used to knock him. He was really, really young when he came in the league,
Yeah.
18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And then the knock on him after the injuries was, well, he hasn't built up his innings. He hasn't built up his innings. Then
Mhm.
when he built up his innings, they were saying, well, he can't sustain the built up innings. He can't sustain the built up innings. Well, over the last 2 seasons, he's averaged 185 innings, which is I believe like top five in all of
Mhm.
MLB. So now we can't knock him on the volume, so now we're going to knock him on luck. He's just lucky. He's not talented anymore. He's not talented. He's still young, and now he's a
Mhm.
horse, and he still
Yeah.
pitches on the same team and with the same plan. And I, he's going to fall. Like I was on a podcast talking specifically about him and looking at where the ADP was and just seeing how where people were talking about him. He's falling, and he's going to be at the bottom of the tier that he was at, or he's going to be at top or close to the next tier. And um, it's going to end up just sometimes we see a trend, right, with players. And then once we get a grasp of it via social media and the buzz, it all kind of molds together. And I feel like we're seeing that with him. We see it on
Mhm.
players that rise too.
Yeah.
Last year, Julio Rodriguez and Bobby Witt, for example, that were on the rise. Good news, right? Spring training, stuff like that. We're poo-pooing Julio for no real reason besides he was lucky. Do we really know how lucky he was? And so he's just going to fall. And he'll end up being hopefully a bargain. I don't like to use the word value because that's just a perception. We don't know. He could get hurt on his first pitch of the year and he's a terrible value. So um, the perceived value on him is pretty good in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean 78th right here. I'm with you on this. I'm seeing it. I actually drafted him in November in the XFL, and I was shocked afterwards how everyone just started. I was like, did I miss something here? This is a guy who has never had a 4 ERA in the minors with the Dodgers, and Steamers come out with him with an over 4 ERA for this year, the projection. So I'm curious to see if he keeps falling, if everybody in the NFB has got the group think and think that, yeah, he's due for a bad year. Man, Dodger Stadium with that Dodgers team, the way this guy locates his pitches, I'm just shocked that he's going as low as he is. So we'll keep an
He's
eye
just
on him.
he's a pitcher, man.
He
Like
is.
I don't
Yep.
know why people don't like him. I
Yeah.
really don't.
Yeah.
Remember when he closed out the 2020 World Series, right? And they're like, well, they used him in the bullpen.
Yeah,
He's not
I
gonna
know. Right.
like what what.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's been a horse the last couple of years, so I'm surprised as well. So here in round 10, there's some good starting pitchers here. I mean, Darvish, you're looking at Zach Gallen, like you got Hader. Again, for a closer, a guy who can get 100+ strikeouts, that's a good value to get. Framber Valdez, Fried, Musgrove. There's still some good bargains, and Team Two is the only one now that has passed on that.
Here we
Uh,
go.
But Tom, give the odds right here. He's taking a pitcher, right?
I'm gonna go
Yeah,
97.6%. He's
there you
gotta
go.
take a starting pitcher
Yeah.
here.
You're the
And it's
host, you're
got to
I
be
taking
mean,
the
higher
bets in.
glass
There
now.
you go.
It
There you
is
go.
higher
there we
You
glass
go.
gave
now.
very good odds on that one. So,
He
and
had to.
And we
yeah.
picked the right one.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's nothing wrong with Glasnow at that point either. It'll be
Yeah.
fun to see how he bounces back. I mean, this guy was just a horse in 21 before he got hurt. So, be interesting. Excuse me.
Yeah.
In a contest like this, I'm also going to be weighing what you're going to give me per inning pitched, not how many innings pitched.
Right.
So Glass now and DeGrom, they're going to be ranked higher for me in this format. I don't know how much higher I can put DeGrom, but even Glass now, I was contemplating on taking him over Zach Gallen.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, he came back at the end of last year. He was more than a year out,
Yeah, I mean,
obviously.
again, you can't get too deep into this without at least somebody, right? I mean, at some
Yeah,
point you gotta pull the trigger. I understand, how offense favors in this contest in the points format, but at some point you gotta get some starting pitching points. You just can't You can't play chicken too long.
No, but you can go plenty yellow now in a row, right? I mean, now you can
Yeah,
really hammer it. You feel like you've got
right.
now, all these teams got 2 catchers though, so they're still filling in some spots. But yeah, I mean, you can really now hammer a lot of pitchers if you want. So
Right.
that's the strategy as well. Again, I'm
Right.
I'm more curious on the starting pitcher, or I mean the relief pitchers, because Tom, we have online, or I mean cut line guys on our show from time to time, and some guys favor
Yep.
closers, right? They take 2 or 3 kinda early. They love the consistency of the 20, 25 points per week. But tonight, we're not really seeing that at all. There's nobody on
No.
this field that's like, "I'm getting 2 or 3 of these guys, and it's gonna be steady points for me."
No, I mean, you look at a Class A in the 6th round, nobody until then. And then I mean Diaz went around later, but yeah, this group does not like closers at all. I mean, Maddie doesn't like him at all unless he's taking one
No,
here. We'll see. But
I'm not.
yeah, this is not a group that is all in on saves in this draft so far.
So we're man, the Brandon Drury love is just being heavily weighted because of the position eligibility. I mean,
Yeah.
I get that, but oh, that's okay. Well, I mean, he's kind of slipped a little bit past where he's so over the last 3 weeks, he's been the ninth third baseman off the board at pick 99 with a min of 57. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Well,
I'm
third
gonna
base is
take,
a little weak this year, that's for sure.
yeah, it is, and I'm not gonna buy into the Gunnar Henderson hype. I'm gonna take my favorite second baseman. I think it's gonna be a min pick by a lot, but I don't really care, and I'm gonna go with Jorge Polanco.
Mm. You like setting those min picks, don't you?
No, it's just I like getting consistent players that hit second or third or one through three in
Right,
their lineups, and that's
right.
what we're getting with him. And he does everything. He has a career average of 270. He had a career low 235 last year, but he had knee and back issues. First time he's ever been on the IL. So I'm not necessarily going to overweight, 40 days missed on the IL because of injuries. I think
Mhm.
if anything, that could have potentially sapped a little bit of what we saw from him. The plate discipline didn't regress or degress, I should say, or he didn't start swinging out of the zone too much. The contact pretty much stayed the same. So yeah, he has a pretty good profile at second base, and I needed a second baseman.
I do like Gunnar Henderson. I'm on the hype there. I think he's going to be rookie of
There he
the year
goes.
this year, and I do like him an awful lot. And third base is kind of weak there, so I think there's some upside there, but I can't fault it all. You know what you said, Maddie? I think we got to throw that out there again. Batting first, second, or third. Jeff Zimmerman writes about this every year, and Jeff, if you look at his main event teams, is always at the top in at bats. I mean, and that's what people
Yep.
don't realize enough, right? And you're concentrating on that as well, right? If you're getting a bunch of guys that are hitting first, second, or third, the run production over 162 game season is going to add up. And we're talking about this
Yeah.
being a math contest. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah, yeah, and now do that volume with points, and it just continues to go up like a slot machine.
Yep.
So that's kind of what you got to focus on. We have that with even with Alejandro Kirk, he hits in the middle of the Blue Jays lineup. Wander Franco, Dansby Swanson, Jorge Polanco, Mookie Schwarber, Robert, and Santander. They're all one, two, three, or four.
Yep. Yep. When I was doing my draft champions, I was looking at the exact same thing. And I know everybody's thinking that now. I didn't used to think about that. I really didn't. I mean, it seems so obvious, but I didn't think about that. If they're batting higher up in the lineup, they're going to get more at bats. They're going to get more
Yeah.
production. And you can have a lot of, like we were talking about Swanson. I mean, did he used to hit what, seventh, I think, with the Braves or whatever? Well, if he's moving on up, there's a greater chance for him to have more production here. So interesting
Yeah.
again.
So one of those things for me too, Greg, is I don't. Siege and I, we've actually talked about Tommy Edmond, so I'm going to use him as an example. It's not like I'm throwing Siege's pick under a bus. Tommy Edmond, there's a potential for him with his splits that he's hitting it lower in the lineup part of the time. Same with even Brandon Lau, who I really love against lefties. He could potentially be hitting lower in the lineup if things falter. Maybe
Mhm.
sometimes we don't see him in the lineup at all. So things like that start to add up over time for me, at least in this contest. And so I'm going to try and steer clear of guys that have extreme splits that play on teams like the Giants or Rays outside of somebody like Wander Franco, the mainstay pieces of these teams because the lineup changes, they fluctuate, they want a platoon, they do all this stuff. That's not really sustainable for me. So when it's coming to projecting again the math on some of these players, so or the points, and so yeah, you just I'll take the boring, simple guys that are just gonna be in that lineup every day at the top.
That's right. All right, Team 7, let's look a little bit there, Tom. Hader and Romano. So again, he's not going for the starting pitchers at this point, but he's happy with two steady save guys that can get him 20, 25 points a week or so.
Yeah, I was going to mention that before. We talked about everybody's got yellow, but Team 7 does not have starting pitching yellow so far. So interesting strategy, but a top player. So he knows what he's doing. We can't fault him, but interesting to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, both guys could get 100 strikeouts though, and
Yep.
plenty of saves. So it'll be interesting to see for sure. So, all right, we're going to stay with this for a couple more minutes here. We like to get about halfway through or so, but just to kind of show you what we have cut line drafts every night at 9 and 11 o'clock Eastern time. Now that we're into February, we're going to be filling them up more often. But this is a great, great contest. Very easy to do. 10 teams, 42 rounds, best ball scoring. After the draft is done, you just have 2 free agent periods. And we're going to be doing these live streams at least once a week. Next Tuesday, in fact, we've got Vlad Sedler, Beat Vlad RotoWire Online Championship League. I can't remember if it's 8 o'clock Eastern, maybe it's 10 o'clock Eastern. I think it is 10 Eastern. So look for that one next Tuesday as well. But we're going to do these with Maddie and Vlad and other people as well. And Maddie, I think you guys are even going to do some live streams on the FTNFantasy.com site, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna we actually started talking about it today in Slack. Chris Meany messaged me, Vlad, and Michael Govier and asked us because he's real good with the videos and stuff,
Yep.
all that good stuff. Chris Meany is real talented and he's hell of a host. And so Vlad and I are gonna start when we start popping our live drafts, even if it's a cut line and OC when we're thinking about doing one, we're gonna kind of get some graphics and stuff drawn up and plaster the NFBC all over it as well, and just kind of talk about like the first 10 rounds or so, kind of what we're
Right.
doing tonight
Right.
over at FTM Fantasy. It'll be on our YouTube page as well, and you can find it on Twitter and stuff like that. So we're going to be ramping that up. I think next week, or maybe even
Great.
by this weekend. It's going to be happening soon, but we're already in discussions with doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tom, we're going to do these every week. You and Derek will probably do more of them. But again, what we want to do is just show people the roster builds, introduce them to these contests. They're so easy to do. They're fun to do. Great competition throughout the year. And we've got great grand prizes. The RotoWire Online Championship is a $150,000 grand prize. Our main event this year has a record $200,000 grand prize. This is our 20th anniversary season. Happy anniversary to us, right?
It's incredible. We're gonna have to. We're gonna clink glasses in Las Vegas either way. But
Absolutely.
I'm sure that you guys are gonna have some sort of special speech ready to go, right? You guys already do all that, but 20 years. That's fucking incredible. Excuse
It
my
is
language.
incredible. And the fact that we've given away over $82 million through all of our sports is also incredible. But it's been a hell of a run. But Tom, we're going to be doing more of these, right?
Yep, absolutely. So, like you said, we got the next one coming up with Vlad on Tuesday night. Derek and I will be hosting that one. Looking forward to that. That'll be a RotoWire online championship. But yeah, like you said, we got all kinds of great drafts, auctions as well. We got an auction. I've been watching that one tonight. We got an auction going on right now. So, drafts, auctions, live events, everything that folks that you want to get into, play nfbc.com. Head on over there, check it out. Entry fees, they start as low as $50. So, whatever it is you're looking for, drafts, auctions, live events, check it out, sign up. I guarantee you, folks, if you love fantasy baseball, you're going to love what we got to offer at playnfbc.com.
Yeah, we just don't have gladiators. That's all. They're gone.
No, they sold out.
1,500 teams in like 4 weeks. That was damn crazy. I mean, I'm sorry.
Hashtag make it bigger.
Make it bigger is coming for sure. Yeah. Well, Derek named it Gladiator 1. And I was like, we're not doing a Gladiator 2. We're selling this thing out, and then we got to move on because we've got cut lines and we got draft champions and everything. But no, next year we'll make it twice as big and make sure everyone gets a chance to get in there. I talked to Eddie Gillis, and he's like, I'm in the middle of football. How'd this thing sell out already? I never even got in it. He's like, I said, I'm sorry, Eddie, but thing just took off. We never expected anything like that. So,
What a
but
great
no, it's
time of
going to be a
year.
great year. I mean, don't you think, Maddie? You can feel it at
I
ftnfantasy.com as well. I'm sure you can just feel people are like, no lockout, no interruption, no pandemic. We're going to get together and we're going to party like it's 1999, right?
That was that's so huge. I mean, last year we just, we didn't even know
Yeah.
some of those things. And now we're ramping up. We know what's going on. Everyone's
Yep.
got their vacation booked and I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. What I love also about this contest is there's some players that I'm going to be priced out on in the 15 team drafts, which I'm more accustomed to.
Right.
But I'm going to take him right here. It's Hunter Green.
Yep.
And in the drafts like this, I get a chance to take some of these high upside, high ceiling guys that
Right.
maybe I have some sustainability concerns with, over the long haul or managing a week to week roster with
Right.
no IL spots and only 7 reserves. But in this format, like the Tyler Glasnows and the Jacob DeGroms, like let's have some fun and win
Yeah.
some money. And you can do that in this contest.
Yeah, Hunter Green's a perfect one, right? This is a guy who could have a
Hell yeah.
15 strikeout outing one time, right? And so yeah, that's a good one for sure. So last time I saw you in person, Maddie, you were eating a Johnsonville cheese brat.
Oh,
Did
so
we have
good.
some fun that time or what?
Yes, we did. And the ironic part about it is it was the Jets and the Packers in Lambeau Field. You hosted the tailgate, so thank you for that. And then we're getting ready to go into the game, and your brother-in-law had the tickets, so I oddly enough had an extra ticket in the indoor club, so you were able to join us. But the crazy thing is you were wearing your Rogers jersey. I have a picture of you facing in the box, looking into Lambeau, and now the next time I might be wearing a Jets number 12
Yeah.
Rogers jersey.
Well, we want you to wear a Jets Rogers jersey. I just bought a new Love jersey. I just said I'm going all in. Yep,
Oh,
got the Love
okay.
jersey.
All
I
right.
love Rogers to death. Tom loves Rogers
Yeah.
to death, but it's just time. It's time to move on. So
I hope we give you guys the house for him. Give as many
yeah,
2 or 3 first round picks.
yeah, I
Just
think so.
So
That's
do
that's
I.
what we want. And I hope
yeah.
he leads you to the Super Bowl. I think it would be great, but I hope we beat you there in the Super Bowl. Well, it probably won't be next year. We're not that close, but no, it would be a good trade for both of us. But no, that was a great time. And we all met up at a Brewers game last August, and
Yep.
we're definitely doing that. We're telling everybody in the Midwest that we're going to do it on a
Yes.
certain date. We're going to get more guys there, and we're going to drink a lot of spotted cow, and we're going to eat Johnsonville cheese brats. So that's what we're
That's
doing.
right.
All right.
Hey, the one last thing real quick, I forgot. There is
Yep.
a flash sale today at ftnfantasy.com. I don't know how long it lasts, but it's only maybe getting close to 7 p.m. on the West Coast, and I think it should be good all night. Use Vlad's promo code VDP, and that'll get you 25% off the season long, all the season long content, off season, in season, and the draft guide at ftnfantasy.com.
Perfect. 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 I saw the tweet today. I think it's 25% off or something like
Yeah.
that. So awesome. Good stuff. Well, Maddie, we enjoyed this an awful lot. You got some work to do yet here with a few more rounds, but it's always fun hanging out with you. We're going to hang out with Vlad next week, but we appreciate everything you do. We appreciate everything FTNfantasy.com does to promote the NFBC, and we love these live streams. So we'll do it again with you before Tom and I head out to New York and Las Vegas. Tom, any final words here on our 20th anniversary season?
No, like I said, just looking forward to certainly looking forward to New York and Vegas, the live events. But folks, we're gonna have a big year in the 20th anniversary. So you don't have to play in the live events, but I hope you do. But again, check everything out. We got it playnfbc.com. Sign up. We got drafts going on every single day. Got them going on during the day right now. So if you like afternoon drafts, get into one, get into anything. Drafts, auctions, live events playnfbc.com. It's baseball season now. I know we got the Super Bowl coming up, but it's baseball season now. Sign up.
Absolutely. The
Beautiful.
camaraderie at the live events is like off the charts, though. You will never regret it. Once you go to one, you'll always come back. So it's a lot of fun. All right, before we go, we have to see if Team Two takes one more pitcher here. He's laying low here with just one glass now. Glass now's on the mound every night for him. So let's just Logan Webb. There you go. You
Oh,
got number 2 starter right now. So there you go. All right, guys. A lot of fun hanging out with you tonight. Stay warm. It's freezing up here in the Midwest. Maddie,
Yeah.
stay warm tomorrow. Have a great weekend. And everybody, have a great weekend. And thank you for joining us for 15 rounds of the NFBC Cutline Championship, $75,000 grand prize on the line. Thank you, everyone. See you
thank you.
next time.